Much has been made by United's interest in Elise going into the summer transfer window, and it's obvious United were keen. But with United mainly trying to sort out the centre-back and CDM spots, also looking at strikers as well, maybe other attackers a little bit lower down the pecking order now. And we know with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, we're trying to count those pennies a little bit more wisely now.
I mean, we need Daniel Ratcliffe, not Jim Ratcliffe.
But fret not, my friends, because United may have the answer already in our squad after all. And it's not this guy. But no, I'm talking about Alejandro Garnacho. He was a vital player last season for many reasons, and 2024 was the season where we saw him start to flourish from the right-hand side. He takes a lot from his idol Cristiano, so can he follow that now and do what Ronaldo did in his early days at United and play largely from that right wing? It happened first of all up against Villa, but then it would continue whenever Ten Hag needed him to be there, and he would consistently chop and change from the left to the right-hand side. Our starting striker Højlund benefited most from having that dynamic of Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, and for me, that was the best front three that United were able to put out throughout the course of last season. But I want to take a deep dive now into that right-wing stint, and can it become a long-term thing for United? Because we know obviously Ahmad is due to get more minutes in this team. But can him and Garnacho outweigh the need to bring in someone like Elise? And then United can say, you know what, Chelsea? You can pay the 60, 70 million, however much it is for him.
Look, if you want him, you can have him. I'm done.
But we've got other options in our squad currently. And then we can potentially look at left-wing options then, where the obviously talent pool is a little bit more broad, and United might be able to find a little bit of a cheaper option. First off, I'm going to dive into the stats. Nerd! And then I'm going to go into the eye test that I done simply from watching him play the two positions throughout the course of last season. As always, guys, drop a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new around here, and let's get into it.
Let's go!
So we know the simple goals and assist stats are very similar, whether Garnacho plays on the left or the right. He played the bulk of his minutes on the left-hand side last season, but his basic output doesn't decrease when he's on that right-hand side. But now I'm going to take a bit of a deeper dive into the stats, and thanks to the Devil's DNA on Twitter for these ones, he's collated the underlying numbers on Garnacho's Prem and UCL campaigns last season, so we can see how each position truly affects his game. Make sure you're checking out that guy's page, guys, for a more in-depth look on these numbers that I'm about to talk about.
Just do it!
And firstly, in regards to Garnacho's shooting, we can see that he's more shot-happy from the left. With that cut-inside dynamic, obviously, that's something that a lot of left-wingers, including Garnacho, are very comfortable with. But that didn't necessarily translate to more goals per 90. From the right wing, he tends to be more of a willing runner off the ball, and he gets into very good positions then. Obviously, to receive the ball, and he just has less of a shot-first instinct from the right-hand side due to the angle limitations. He's not just, obviously, that cut inside and shoot type of guy then. Not doing, obviously, what Anthony does on that right-hand side a lot of the time. It forces Garnacho to change his game a little bit, but maybe it's for the better. And now we move on to the passing and creation numbers, and again, from the right wing, the numbers that again are improved. Only his passes attempted are higher from the left-hand side, and a lot of the time that's simply just due to the fact he's more involved. He crosses more, and he seems to find better passes from the right-hand side. He's less inclined to obviously go for those mazy dribbles that end up getting him obviously stuck a little bit sometimes. This largely helps with those creation numbers as well. As you can see, obviously the goal creating actions are a lot more prevalent when he's playing from that right hand side. But obviously we've just got a small pool of numbers to obviously work with throughout the course of last season. But these ones initially, from what we saw, are improved when he's playing on that right hand side. And then lastly then we have his touch and carry numbers, and again, these indicate that he's more comfortable with the ball on that left-hand side. Obviously carrying the ball more, taking people on a little bit more. And United have largely had a left-side attack-heavy system now for quite some time. And it's a big reason for these sort of stats and why whoever our left winger is, they tend to be more involved in the game. And obviously the likes of Rashford, whether it's Garnacho out there, they tend to have the ball a lot more. And then they have the license then to really run and have a charge at their fullback. Not a bad thing. But obviously Garnacho on the right-hand side is a little bit safer with it. Just simply because he's not as comfortable with the ball on that side. So he's not taking as many risks out there then. But he's more likely to actually bring other players into the game and link up with them then. So you get that little bit of a different dynamic when he's on that right-hand side. And now on to my opinion, just from what I saw last season. Honestly, I don't see why we can't keep that same dynamic going from last season into the next one. Because I was initially set on signing Elise myself. But the more I think of it now, we've got Ahmad, we've got Garnacho, and we've got Anthony for that right-hand side. No matter what you think of Anthony, he isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Signing someone like Doué who can play across the front line but really prefers that left-hand side, that's really started to pique my interest over the last few weeks. Having this dynamic across the front line with these young, exciting options for the long term is really the signs of United trying to build a long-term project now. Then you've still got the experience of the likes of Rashford and Bruno in and around that front line as well. And obviously the likes of Mount and that when they come in as well. So I do actually quite like this new dynamic to start in the forge there. And the more I look at it, the more I think of it, I'm happy for Garnacho and Ahmad to be the main options on that right-hand side. And as I said, obviously you do have Anthony there as that other option as well. Because you can still have Garnacho playing off the left-hand side. There's no reason why he can't play from both sides. And then you can see the different sides of his game then a little bit more as well. Give him a bit of a license when he's on the left-hand side to run at people. But when he's on the right-hand side, maybe be more of that sort of creation type. And I think then you're just allowing Garnacho to really develop into that really top all-round player that I really think that he can be. Because there's no reason on the right-hand side where he still can't take on his man. He still has that burst of pace to go on the outside. But it just means that he's just not turning into that sort of one-trick pony, which kind of Anthony is a lot of the time. So you are building Garnacho's all-round game. And for me, it just seemed a little bit more straightforward when he played on the right. He seemed more inclined to link with his teammates. And he still obviously has that burst. So I'm inclined to say, keep Garnacho and Ahmad for that right-hand side. Anthony alongside him. And then bring in, if we're going to bring in another attacker, if anyone, is going to be someone who can play from that left. And I think is an option like Doué, a young, exciting prospect to obviously deputise alongside Rashford. That's what I'm going for now. Because we really are trying to build this long-term project now.
Excited!
So there we are, guys. As I've said, I'm starting to lean towards keeping Garnacho more on that right-hand side and bringing in a left-sided option in the summer transfer window. Let me know what you guys think down below. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.